What's up, guys? It feels good to be back. Man, I feel like I haven't done this live thing in so long I don't even know what I'm doing. So yeah, anyways, guys, welcome to Own the Chaos. This is Stock Watch Sunday, where we go over the stocks that I'm watching this week. Now, just full disclosure, these are not stocks that I'm telling you to buy or that you should stay away from. These are stocks to simply watch. I'll provide you with reasons as to why I think they're watch-worthy, and then you make that decision accordingly. So if you are interested in joining a community of like-minded individuals who literally celebrate each other's success, you might have seen the screenshot that I put in my thumbnail on this video. That is not my winnings, okay? The thing that I love to do the most within my group, which is WeTrade HQ, the links are down in the description below. It's absolutely free to join. And the one thing that I love to do more than anything is celebrate the success of others. And it couldn't have happened to a better person, which is Conrad in our group. I hope you're watching, Conrad, out there. You do watch regularly. I know you do. We gave him a big shout out. He's part of the KSM, or Kiko Stocks mentorship group. We'll get into that a little bit deeper later on in the video. But man, huge win on LFAP. Got into that at the very bottom of that, down at 003 range. It ran all the way up to 14 freaking cents. We'll go into why that is. I'm going to cover that as well. I think it's definitely one that continue to watch throughout the week. Guys, I can't stress to you enough just the absolute growth that we've seen within WeTrade HQ. Not just my channel, but just the platform itself. Kiko's group. We're bringing on more mentors, and that's the other thing, guys. So if you're watching me for the first time ever, if this is your first time ever joining my channel, I created this platform with my partner Jake. I don't do a good enough job of shouting him out, but me and my partner Jake, we built WeTrade HQ, and our vision for this was to have a platform surrounded around people who like to trade everything, whether it is over-the-counter stocks, just like what you're watching here, or big board stocks, options, forex, cryptocurrencies, you name it. No matter what you're trading in the market, WeTrade HQ is a place for you, and it's free to join. So click the links down in the description below, and check out what over 3,000. That was the other thing. We cracked 3,000 members this weekend, guys, which has been awesome. So we have over 3,000 members around the globe learning and celebrating each other's success within the stock market. So there's no egos here. This isn't, hey, look what Brad did. This isn't the Brad show. This is what you guys are doing and how you guys are killing it. And we're just here to help you along and celebrate with you along your journey within your trading career. So let me welcome some folks and just kind of, we'll get started here. Usually I have my top 3 stocks I'm watching. There's just so much going on with the OTC. I've extended it to, I think I got 5 that I'm watching this week. So you guys are in for a treat. It's going to be a little bit longer. Usually my videos are about 30 minutes long. It's probably going to be extended to a little bit closer to an hour, I imagine. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions, and so I'll be happy to answer those at the end of the video as well. But let me welcome some folks. Great turnout so far. Josh, Alan, Janet, Jenny, good to see you. I hope you're staying warm up there, Jenny, Tammy, Bob. I said Bob. Louise, Sheila. Photo guy, Kathleen. Man, got some new faces too. So good to see you guys. Farah, good to see you as well. Just an amazing week. We've had not one, not two, but several 1,000+% runners within the OTC. And guys, again, if you're joining for the first time, this shit is real. People are killing it. Conrad, well, I think if I did the math right, you invested at 1,000 or a little less than 1,000, a little over $1,000 into LFAP. And this isn't just off of luck. I know I'm going to get comments after this video. Oh, that guy just got lucky. He threw a dart. No, he did not. He was in our Kiko Stocks mentorship, and he freaking crushed it because he did the actual due diligence that Kiko teaches within our mentorship program. So if you're interested in that, again, links are in the description below. I know that I'm going to get all kinds of hate because of that, because we get it all the time. Oh, this isn't real. This isn't something that actually happens. And I know that there's going to be people, and I'm sure you'll be able to support me, guys, within the live chat, that this is real shit that happens all the time. So we'll go over LFAP, which I think again is going to run. Guys, LFAP really, I think it would not surprise me. It's got dollar potential. And I know that people say that all the time, but it's rare that I throw the dollar word out. I think it has the potential to get there. Again, I'm not saying it's going to, but it certainly does, and we'll get into that right now. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Oh gosh. Let me do some adjusting here. That's terrible. Gotta get together, man. Gotta get together. Here we go. My OBS is all jacked up. I was fooling with the settings, and yeah, there we go. That's much better. Alright, so now we are sharing my screen appropriately so you guys can actually see it. So, here it is. Oh no, that's INKW. Let me get LFAP pulled up. I was going to talk about INKW, and we'll get there because there's lots of action on that as well. But LFAP, okay, this green line represents where a lot of us, not only within Kiko's mentorship, but within my mentorship as well. We talked about Kiko's got in a day early. I was asked about it. I honestly didn't see it even on my radar. I'm going to be completely honest with this. I'm going to give Kiko all the credit on this. Completely blew it out of the water. The way that they identify stocks, everything's based off of unusual volume, and so this is, you know, and how we identify tickers in the first place. Well, okay, something's going on here. Maybe there wasn't volume that showed up on this, and all of a sudden volume showing up, and we don't know why. And that's the basis of, you know, finding tickers such as this within the OTC, and really in penny stocks in general, is just finding unusual volume. And what's going on here? Is this a front-loaded stock? Meaning, you know, could this potentially be a pump and dump? That's something that's a very real thing. It's something that we try to watch out for within the OTC, because you have to protect yourself when it comes to that sort of thing. So, watching here at LFAP, Kiko's mentorship group, the day of, and the night of, or the night before it really ran, they already were in it at 003 area. And the reason they were in that's because they saw that unusual volume. They went and looked to see why that unusual volume was happening. So they went to OTC Markets. He has a series of steps that he goes through, and found this. This is an 8K. If you're not familiar with what an 8K is, it's an SEC filing that LFAP put up. And basically what the 8K states is that through LGBT loyalty, we intend to create and establish, develop, and manage and fund an LGBT preference index. So it's LGBT Exchange Traded Fund, or ETF, and LGBT Loyalty Sponsor Fund. That is huge. Do you have any idea how much money goes into that? So that in and of itself is a major catalyst. The other catalyst I think here is also a big deal, is that Maxim Partners, okay, so I have this highlighted. I do a lot of control Fs within 8Ks because sometimes there's a lot to go through, so I control F and looked up Maxim, and then it came down here and saw that Maxim is owning 49.99% of then issued and outstanding common stock. That is insane. And so if you guys are familiar with Maxim, you hear me talk about that a lot of times within my own mentorship, which I go live with you guys, you know, people who are in my mentorship and you're interested in joining. I go live with folks just before the market open and just after it opens, so that we can identify potential stocks that may be running and then make our play after that. But anyway, we were looking at this, and I was actually asked about this. I'll be honest with you, this one didn't pick up on my scanners. This is something that Kiko found, and people asked me within the next day of the mentorship, and I said, you know, I do see value here. I think there's a lot of money to be had. I personally did not make a play on it because I thought that perhaps, and this is my own dumb mistake, I thought perhaps that this share structure was way too small for me. I thought perhaps I wasn't going to be able to make an entry. I really wasn't going to make one after it ran, but goodness, that's why it really ran too, is just because that share structure was very small. And you know, I explained how these small share structures are a double-edged sword. They can go up very quickly, but they can come down just as fast. And so that was why I decided to stay away from it. Silly me. Biggest mistake I could have made on my part. But having said that, this was a major play for a lot of folks within his group. You could have taken a small amount of money, and that's the biggest thing about this, is that you could have taken a small amount of money and really turned it into something huge by making a play like this. And so this is kind of what we cater to. We cater to people who are just starting out and trying to build their account. And this is the kind of stuff that happens pretty often and pretty consistently within my group as well as Kiko's. I can't say enough about how Kiko's really transformed his group, and it's just been an awesome to see that evolve within WeTrade HQ. So LFAP, what's in store for next week? Well, I think there's going to be continuation. To be honest with you, it had highs of 14 cents. RSI was insane on this one. I'll just pull up Bollinger Bands real quick just because it's easier to get there. As you can see here on the 30-minute chart, Bollinger Bands, it was trading well above that. It had to have come down and cooled off a little bit, and it did. It came back down, had some nice consolidation, and which I'm sure a lot of people that traded down at these levels were like, heck yeah, I'm getting out. I've experienced almost a 4,000% gain. I'm rolling with this, and so they probably sold off in these areas. But that's the, like I said, the double-edged sword within, these very, very thinly traded stocks, is that, they can go down just as sharply as they went up. So, but do I think that there's still value to be had, and do I think that there could potentially be a major run? If there's a continued catalyst that comes on along next week related to this ETF, that adds even more value to this stock, as thinly as this is traded, it would not surprise me to see this run to $1. I'm not saying that it's going to, and again, like I said earlier in this video or in this live stream, that I don't throw that word around a whole lot, but with as thinly as this is traded and having Maxim being basically holding half of the OS in this, this could be an unbelievable run. Maybe it falls flat on its face and doesn't do anything, but I think that this is primed to do that. This has that type of setup that it could potentially go there. So that is LFAP. That was probably one of the major runs for the week, but actually this was one of the major runs at the end of the week. What I want to talk about a little bit more is LCTZ. LCTZ was one that we played at the beginning of the week. Unbelievable play this one was as well. Lots of folks got into this, not only within Kiko's mentorship, my mentorship, but also within just WeTrade HQ platform, the free platform as well. Lots of people capitalized on this. Tachyon, I've mentioned him before, experienced again a 5-figure win on LCTZ because we got in right around 1.5 cents, and then it ran all the way up almost to a quarter. And that's another insane, unbelievable run, over 2,000%, that if you were not within WeTrade HQ, it's likely you probably would not have been able to get in as early as we did. The reason we saw this as early as we did, and I want to give another one of our folks within the WeTrade HQ community, which his name is Dario. He created OTCRE. We saw that there was an update on OTCRE because he created this scanner for all of us who trade within the OTC. It's an amazing tool that I've really just started to kind of scratch the surface on, but we saw this within the SOS filings. One of the major things we look out for is the Secretary of State filings and what goes on with them and that sort of thing. And so we saw on LCTZ the SOS filings here. This updates in real time, and so check this out. By the way, it's otcre.com if you're interested in checking out this scanner. This is just another great tool that can help you become profitable in making your trades. So LCTZ popped up on this scanner in particular, and it ran because of this. So I pulled up the SOS, and it was updated. The CEO, president, director was updated, and his name is Mark DeMaria. Mark DeMaria, if you look him up, you can find out that he owns a developing business and is worth over $500 million. And so now it looks as if he is merging into LCTZ and basically going public with his business. Now, I'm not saying that it's a done deal just yet because we haven't received official word, but when you see stuff like this on the Secretary of State, it's pretty much a done deal. And so this is why LCTZ ran as crazy as it did. You can see the share structure here, again, in OTC markets. If you're going and looking at the share structure, 14 million. Unbelievable. Unbelievable float. And it just took off because of that. I think that we're going to continue to see a continuation of this, especially as more eyes get onto this. gosh, I believe it, if I'm not mistaken, this was confirmed on several other platforms, including CNBC. And so just, I think that LCTZ also needed some time to cool down, just like LFAP. And, you know, it actually looks like it's showing some pretty good signs of consolidation. And again, am I going to sit here and talk in absolutes? I like to use this green color. If I'm going to sit here and talk in absolutes and say, yes, this is absolutely going to move like crazy next week, no, I'm not going to talk like that. Do I think that it certainly has the potential to do so based off of the due diligence and the chart that we're looking at here? Yes, I think it has the potential to make a run into next week, even beyond 25 cents if some more serious dollars come into this, just because this float is super tiny. And that's what we look for. We look for these low floaters because it means that they could make significant runs. Why I didn't do that with LFAP, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe I was just having an off day. It is what it is. But LCTZ, again, another major, this was a 20 bagger, guys. Just unbelievable run on this one. Okay? So, having said that, if you look here, the officer here, which Richard Cheng, took over this shell and, you know, handed it over to Mark DeMaria. There's a lot of things that we call sympathy plays, okay? And so there is one in the works here that I think could potentially be another LCTZ type run, and that is this. CNHC. The reason CNHC is on my radar is because of this. If I'm looking at the Nevada Secretary of State, again, thanks to OTCRE.com, and you look here, he is also the officer of this and has been very recent in doing so. I Like Beef Stock actually pointed out on his Twitter account, if you're not familiar with who he is, he's within our group as well, very seasoned vet, my personal mentor, and pointed out that the custodianship was granted early, or terminated early. So this could be another, it could potentially even gap up on Monday morning. We'll see where this goes, but depending on who the officers are and what kind of merger this might be, this could be another you know, potential LCTZ type of play, just given that you know, the same guys taking over the shell could be merging it within another company that could be just as valuable, maybe even more valuable than LCTZ. We'll see, though. Again, remains to be seen. But the initial reaction here with CNHC was because of LCTZ and the value that they brought, that Richard Cheng brought into that. So there, you see this a lot of times when you know, a stock starts to run because a shell was taken over by a particular person that merged it into another one of significant value, that all the other ones that are owned by that individual start to perk up and get some action, and CNHC was one of those. We got into this, you know, well below a penny, made a nice run so far. I know a lot of folks are still holding on to this one. Maybe they sold their initial investment and protected that, and or maybe there's a lot of folks riding free shares on CNHC. So we'll see where that goes this week. I certainly think that there's potential for this to make a nice little move, but you know, obviously it remains to be seen. But the value and the potential is certainly there for it to move, which is why it's on the watch. Now, speaking of sympathy plays, I initially called this one out, TVOG at 175. I made a play on this at 175, which TVOG. Now, why am I looking at TVOG? Well, I'm looking at TVOG because of this. Let me pull this up. So, talked to you guys about this earlier in the week that this came out, and I shouted it again. I shouted this out within the group at around 0175, which is when I got in on TVOG. They they accepted terms for a placement plan with GHS Investments. And who cares who GHS Investments are, right? Well, GHS Investments are the same company that invested $7 million into SHNP. And if you're not familiar with SHNP, it literally ran from sub-penny to 60 cents since January 1st. Since January 1st, it was sub-penny. It is now trading at around 55 to 60 cents. Mind-blowing run. Every day now it has dollar volume in the tens of millions of dollars on SHNP, and it has literally a third of the share structure I'm sorry, TVOG has a third of the share structure that SHMP does. SHMP has a much larger share structure, much larger float, and so TVOG could make a nice little run because of the news that they received. That they were basically receiving the same type of investment as SHMP. Now, I think the initial knee-jerk reaction here was because of, again, as I was saying, that sympathy play of SHMP. Once people started to find out that TVOG was was receiving money from the same company as SHMP, record volume here, record volume for TVOG on that first day when it was initially called out. And so, do I think that we could see some continuation? There was a significant pullback. The reason why I think there was a pullback was because you had people holding into this from way back here that maybe were just ready to get out. But I think that it might have been a little premature. I think that there's a nice little swing play into next week. We'll see if that continues to move on forward, barring any new catalysts that come from TVOG next week. Whew! Gonna check in with y'all. I feel like I've been talking a ton right now. So let's see here. LFAP is a life changer. It sure is. It sure is. And there's already a lot of life changers that we've had. So it's been awesome. So all right. So I'm gonna go to the last one right now, and that is going to be INKW. You guys know that I've been talking about INKW for quite some time. I got in around 1.5 cents. I have not shied away from that. It had been trading very nicely in this little channel. Talked to folks within my mentorship group for several weeks. I mean, I've been into this thing. This is a longer term play for me. I've been in since late October, early November, somewhere around there. And talked about how recently it's been trading quite nicely within this channel. It's been holding gains. I've been I haven't been mad at this thing, and I think the reason why it came down from its highs around 5 cents and just kind of settled in this channel is because of boredom. People weren't realizing that it takes forever to close on a 60,000 square foot bottling facility. They finally closed, and that is why we saw that break out of that channel, and it's now reconsolidating back up into the 4 to 4.5 cent range. It would be great to see this thing break past 5 again. They announced through their Twitter account that perhaps that they were releasing some information as far as news is concerned. Now, the interim CEO, which is Lenny Green of Green Concepts, is the interim CEO. We know this, and so this could be they could be talking about upper management changes. We don't know, but they did announce on their Twitter account that they would be releasing some significant news, which would be a great catalyst for INKW. If you look at their share structure, it's really nothing. You look at their security details, go to their float. It's a really nice looking float. It's nice and thin, and it's just, if you're not familiar with this, if you haven't been following my channel for a while, they just acquired a 60,000 square foot bottling facility and the company that owned it. They now own 100% of that, which they announced in the form of a PR this week. So if we go here, this was on Thursday, I believe. They completed a 100% acquisition of Mammoth Ventures. So not just the bottling facility, but the company itself. I think a lot of people overlooked that. So that's still a big deal. And people sold into that news, which I thought was crazy. Why I wouldn't sell into this news was because all they're announcing right now is that they acquired this bottling facility. We're not seeing yet why they acquired the bottling facility. I think that it would be silly to sell now until we actually know what they're buying it for. We have no idea what the value of this company is just yet. And so that is why it's been a long-term play for me, is because I wanted to see where they were going with this. And, why would you sell something when you already knew that they were basically going to be acquiring this facility? They've been pretty open and upfront about it that they were acquiring this. It just takes time. To close on stuff like this. I mean, you can imagine how long it takes you to buy a house if you ever bought a house. And so when you're acquiring a facility like this, things take time. They did do that. And so for me, I still see a lot of value in INKW. Again, I'm not saying that this is going to go crazy. It's going to go to dollars. It's going to make everybody rich. as with all of these plays, that they're not going to do that. I'm not saying that they're not going to do that, but you know, the reason we have Stock Watch Sunday is because it is just that. It is a stock watch. You know, we're not telling anybody to buy. There's a lot of negative connotations out there with pump and dumps and this, that, and the other. I've already gotten a bunch of hate mail about that. But that's not what we do. If I'm a pump and dumper, I'm the worst pumper there is, because I literally tell you that I see no problem with you selling a position, as we tell everybody within our WeTrade HQ group. So if you're interested on the tools that I was using within this video, that is, again, WeTrade HQ. You're available to use those charts and chat with other like-minded individuals for free. Links are down in the description if you're looking to check that out. So just looking at some stuff here. PBYA, AK new officers, floated small, OS sucks, but yeah, PBYA is going to be a lotto play for sure. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was in the trips. So not one I'm really going to spend a whole lot of time on. I've seen a lot of pump and dump action on that one, so probably not worth anybody's time, to be honest with you. LVCA is going to be another patience play. They came out with, I believe, some filings, if I'm not mistaken, Jason, and not really a great reaction to that. So it's kind of tough sledding for LVCA. If you're in LVCA and you still see value in it, you're just going to have to be prepared to be very patient with it. For whatever reason, it's taken a long time for LVCA to get going. And we'll see if anything comes after those filings that just came out. I believe it was this past week as well. So, all right. Let's see here. LFAP worth the chase after a 700% run. Again, LFAP, I think it could definitely be worth that, just because it did seem to cool down a little bit. And we'll see if they come out with any more catalysts this week. And so, yeah, we'll see how LFAP reacts. Again, I think that obviously the LGBT community is massive, and the fact that MAXM owns half of this stock now. I say MAXM because that's their you know, their symbol on level 2. But Maxim owns, you know, almost half the float, so that is a major deal. And so, do I think that LFAP is worth more than 8 cents? I honestly do, but again, that's just my thoughts on that. But do I think it's worth a chase? That's going to have to be a decision that you have to make. It just would not surprise me if we saw this advance to close to $1 range, just based off of that little bit of due diligence. And it's just a major catalyst for something that has such a small float. That's the other thing. It's not going to take a whole lot of dollars to get it to that point. The buying volume is really not going to have to be that significant to get it to a price point of $1 or more. We saw this with SHMP. You know, it's taken 6 weeks for it to get to 60 cents on a significantly larger share structure. And so with LFAP being as small as it is, and with Maxim owning 49.99% of the OS, that's an unbelievable setup for it to make a major run. So again, make that decision yourself, and if you see value in that, then go for it. Make sure you have a plan, not only to just enter but also exit. We talk about that a lot, and so make sure that you have all that set up before you make any buying or selling decision. So LIBE, not worth my time. Do I think GHHC is done? Great question. GHHC is going to be one that I think is another long-term play. It had a crazy run-up, had an 8K last week. It was either 8K or a PR. And so I think there's still value to be had there. I don't think it's done by any means, but it might be starting to evolve in a much longer-term play for GHHC. If you didn't get in at the initial run and didn't make some crazy bread on that. I mean, folks got in the GHHC within our group too, in the 000 range, and it closed at? Did it close over 2 cents? Let me see here. I'll share my screen again, and we'll look at it on WeTradeHQ.com. So WeTradeHQ.com is right here, and GHHC. That's a great thing about WeTradeHQ.com. I can just search it, find it. Here's my chart. Boom. I want to look at the 30-minute chart. Yes, I do. And yeah, it looks like it's actually right. Could be at a potential support level here. maybe an opportunity to either add to your position if you're looking to build a position here, or even make an entry at this level. We'll see if it actually holds the support. I kind of like the support level around 129, to be honest with you. But we'll see. If it holds here at 144, great. If it doesn't, then you're going to have to look at more support levels lower down than this. But GHHC, if you guys aren't familiar with it, we can look over the particulars here real quick. I don't know why I've been saying particulars lately, but I have. Seems to be my new word, particulars. Although I feel like it's an old person saying. No offense to the old people out there. But maybe I'm turning a new leaf and becoming an old person. Particulars. So yeah, GHHC 2.5. So this was this past week. Advances its growth strategy with new IPO advisory client firm. Not a big deal. It wasn't a huge catalyst, which is probably why it didn't really react as well as lots of people thought they did. It should have. But this is one of the major catalysts for GHHC last month. You know, they satisfied all power up convertible notes. Here's the thing with GHHC that you need to understand in this PR is that it says all power up convertible notes. It doesn't say all convertible notes. They still have convertible notes. If you're not familiar with what convertible notes are, they are dilutive. That's what dilution is. So it's money, cash, that basically gets converted into shares. Just to put that in its most basic form, which means that the OS or the float's increasing, which means that it makes it much tougher for it to move, meaning price action. And so GHHC, again, I still think there's value here. The fact that they were able to satisfy some of the convertible notes is a good thing, not to diminish that at all. But there are other notes out there that they're going to have to take care of for GHHC to you know, increase their value. Now they, again, have a lot going on. I think there's a lot of value to be had in GHHC, but at this point, at this stage in the game, after it's made this crazy little run, that it, you know, has started to evolve into a longer-term play. If there's anybody that's in this and looking to see if it's going to really make any kind of major moves, unless they have some absolutely nuts catalyst that comes out this week that sends this thing soaring, that's the type of outlook that I think that lots of folks should have on GHHC. Again, just my opinion. By the way, Jason, I don't want to take away from that. Thanks for the donation, buddy. I really appreciate that. Been a while, but nice to see that for sure. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Always like to shout those folks out. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, Jesse. By the way, thanks. Thanks for letting everybody know. I'd appreciate a thumbs up for some extra support, some additional support. Thank you so much for that as well. Particulars as an old person saying, see, I knew it was. Take it from an old guy. Thanks for the rundown, GHs. Yeah, for sure, Darren. No problem, man. All right. So, no, man. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. So, yeah, it looks like there's a lot of folks in. So SHMP, great. I'm glad you asked that question. I know that there's a lot of people that are in SHMP and that made plays on it. SHMP blew my mind. They had so much in convertible debt that I was like, there's no way I'm touching that. There's no way it's going to sustain this type of run. And in 99% of those cases, I'm right. I'm right in that. SHMP was a complete, you know, outlier. They have tons of dilutive debt, but I think they're doing it in a way to where it's not, how do I want to say it? There's certain instances in which dilution is just not overcomable. And in SHMP's case, it looks as if there's enough volume there. I mean, we saw, what, over $20 million in dollar volume on Friday at SHMP. That amount of money, I mean, it doesn't really matter what the dilution case is or what the convertible debt is on something like SHMP. If you're throwing $20 million at it in one single trading day, which I know a lot of you big board folks are like, okay, whatever, big deal. But in the OTC, that is a huge deal. So you throw that kind of money at something like SHMP, and it's going to move no matter how heavy it is. So unbelievable play. Do I think that that SHMP still has legs? Gosh, you know, really, your guess is as good as mine on that, just because that's something that I have yet to have seen, really, that kind of run with that kind of setup. And what I mean by that is just from that sort of share structure and everything, just for it to really take off the way that it has, just unbelievable. But I think a lot of that has to do with the investors that came in. You know, they invested $7 million or are investing $7 million into SHMP. Again, same company, same investment firm that is investing $4 million in TVOG, which is what we just looked over tonight. So take a look at that. If you find value in that, great. If not, no big deal. Just something that I wanted to point out to folks that maybe were looking at SHMP and being like, holy crap, you know, and now you can kind of get in on the ground floor, if you will, of TVOG and, you know, a potential similar type of setup with a much better share structure, might I add. So are they doomed to crash? I don't know if they're doomed to crash. Again, like I said, your guess is as good as mine. Fannie Mae, I did see that things were happening. To be completely honest with you, I haven't looked too much into that, but I will look at that throughout the week and certainly get back with you. Feel free to send me a direct message through our Discord group. If you're not there yet, the link is down there below. I can't say that enough. I feel like I'm a broken record sometimes when we talk about that. But TNXP, all right, stock news. Let's take TNXP. I hope that it's an OTC. I get a lot of folks that say, you know, what's your thoughts on Apple? And I'm like, you know, have you ever asked a heart surgeon to operate on your brain? And they kind of look at me like a deer in the headlights. But like, are you going to ask a neurosurgeon to perform heart surgery? No, you're not. So when people ask me that, I'm like, the ticker I said, Kasem. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Kasem, it's TV. So T as in Victor, or T as in Tango, V as in Victor. So it's this one right here. TVOG, Turner Valley Oil Gas. So, all right, to answer your question, woo, gotta love the ads. What was it again? My bad. TNXP. Onyx Pharmaceuticals. This is what I do whenever I'm doing due diligence on a stock. Yeah, it's NASDAQ. I figured it was. So look, we're looking at this. I'm going to look at it like I would be looking at an OTC stock. It's trading at $1.91, which it is what it is. I usually trade stuff that's a lot lower than this because I like to get as much shares as I can before it makes a run to $1. I mean, I don't see much there. I don't see much here. What's the... Oh, they came out with news last week. New bio CEO. So look, this catalyst is already come and gone. So if something is being traded this with, you know, at $1.91 and you're basically playing it off of a catalyst, that catalyst is basically come and gone. And really the volume looks terrible for something that's being traded over $1. So for TNXP, do I see value personally? No. But if you see that there's more value here, then, you know, go for it. But this is something that I'm not going to even look at. For one, it's on NASDAQ, and it's just something that I stay away from. Two, the CEO catalyst is come and gone, so once the news is already out, for me personally, it's just too late to get in. Let's see, what else we got? It's 185. Yeah, so again, TNXP is just something that I'm probably not even going to pay attention to a whole lot. So, the guy here, they're advertising Grammys. Idea was at MLHC probably. Alright guys, so I think we're coming to an end there. Comments are starting to dry up a little bit. So let me do my spiel at the end of, like I do at the end of all my videos. But if you guys saw value in this, if you saw value in the Stock Watch Sunday, if you learned a lot, I mean, look, we had folks within our group that made $8,000 this week, and they only risked $1,000. So if you're watching right now and you're used to watching somebody who makes $1,000 a day, but they invest 30 grand to do it, that's not how you trade it. That's not how you trade, for one. Focus on the percentage gains. I don't care how much money you're making every day. How much did you have to actually risk to get there? And so that's just how I trade. You know, I don't want to risk 30 grand on a position just to make $1,000. I'd much rather drop $1,000 on something and see 8 grand gain, just like Conrad did within our group. So that's something that you're interested in doing, and you're already just starting out, and you already don't have a whole lot of money, well, then I feel as if penny stocks are really kind of the way to go. I mean, and don't get me wrong, penny stocks are extremely volatile and extremely risky. So it requires the right tools and the right resources and the right people surrounded around you in order to be able to become successful. And I might be biased, but there's a lot of folks in here that'll agree with me that WeTrade HQ is going to be a place for you to get your learn on and really learn to become successful in trading this very volatile market. And again, like I said, it's not just dedicated to penny stocks, but that's what this channel is, so that's what I'm going to talk about. So if you're interested in other stuff besides penny stocks, again, WeTrade HQ has the tools and resources for you to become successful. We have mentors in place that will help you get there. It's absolutely free to join and mingle and talk with other folks within the group and celebrate each other's success. So guys, thank you so much. Again, the links for all that stuff, my morning mentorships, Kiko's mentorship, all that stuff is in the links below. Please go check those out, and please subscribe to this channel if you got value out of this, and I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up as well to show me some additional support. If you like this shirt, if you're sick of trading, if you love natural gas, or if you're sick of natural gas, there's also a link down in the description below as well. I have some pretty funny, cool looking shirts to go along with just what it is that we do. We like to have fun. Stocks are sometimes boring, and we try to do whatever we can to make it a little more fun within our group. So please go check those out as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I will see you all before the bell, and B. Smith is out. Have a good one, guys.